closely what that looks like or what we mean by that. In conjunction with our webinar today, I'll be able to also lead our first innovative school counseling cohort. And so by innovative, I just mean the kind of work that we do in our settings, right? The kind of school counseling that we do in our setting is really unique and inspiring in ways that others just don't really know about. They don't really get it until they step foot into our settings and actually do the work in our settings. And so innovative, non-traditional, I'm speaking to my charter schools on this call, virtual settings, private, alternative education, choice schools, whatever connotation, whatever title you give yourself, you subscribe to. We're speaking to you, right? So, but today you don't have to worry or wait until the cohort begins. We want to give you some gems, some great resources, tools, and some ideas to actually apply to your settings today. So, the key word today, the buzzword is innovate. And so, like you, if you're just looking for that thing that's going to keep you motivated or keep you inspired or keeping you on your toes and thinking outside the box, I want you to put an innovate in the chat. Okay, so I want to see innovate all throughout the chat anytime you feel inspired or ready to do this work and really to unpack our topic. So I also want to invite to thank you. I see the innovates coming through the chat. I appreciate you all. You're with me with innovating, doing some innovative work in our settings. And I'm fortunate today to be joined by two of my amazing colleagues. Before I bring them on, I do want to let you know that my name is Ebony Payno. I will introduce myself real briefly. I'm a former school counselor for 16 years in Georgia, serving both in non-traditional settings as well as the traditional settings. In 8 years, I spent in alt ed. My ratio typically was about 1 to 450 students. Within that time in school counseling, I was fortunate to receive the Cobb School Counselor Association Writer of the Year Award, as well as the Georgia School Counselor Association Writer of the Year Award, stemming from two publications that I created centered around student services, programming, and school counseling, as well as scholarship searching success. And so just happy to have you today. I'd like to welcome, first off, Mindy to unmute and introduce yourself.
All right. Hello. I'm Mindy Willard, and that's Taisha. We're going to go back to Mindy. That's me. Well, that's Ebony. I keep hitting the button too many times. Too many hands in the pot. Here we go. All right. All right. Hands up. There we go. Oh, there's me. Okay. So I have the privilege of supporting Ebony with this webinar, and I am here as a backup dancer, y'all. Ebony is the main star of this show, and I am the senior director at Hatching Results. And prior to working at Hatching Results, I was the district coordinator in Madison, Wisconsin. So Ebony's talking about some snow in Atlanta. Girl, I'll show you some snow. Just come hang out at my house. Where's my Midwest folks? Give me a shout out. Anybody else survive negative 40-degree weather last week? My kids have been home since Thursday. I am losing my mind. They went back to school today. So, yes. All right. Love it. We are surviving. I got my space heater here. I got my candles. So, we will get through this together, everyone. But I'm excited to be here to support Ebony and to talk about how at the district level I supported some of our alternative and charter schools and innovative programming in the Madison area. So, yeah, and I'm going to pass it off to the other star of the show today, Taisha.
You're a
Tell us about
hard act to follow, Mindy. Hi, everyone. My name is Taisha Hemmons. I am coming to you from sunny Southern California, though it's sunny, but it's cold for us. I'm saying for us. It's 72 degrees today. So, yes, I don't know how you guys do it on that side of the coast. But I'm super happy to be here supporting Ebony and her passion project, making sure that innovative school counselors have a voice, have professional development that's for us, by us. I spent over 20 years in public, private, and charter education here in Southern California. And I can say without a doubt, all of those experiences have really brought me here to Hatching Results to share what I've learned about the best practices of our profession. But 17 of those years were in at a private, independent school and a charter school here in Southern California. And so just thank you all for being here. I see there's over 200 folks here. So that definitely tells us there's a need to have this kind of professional development for school counselors in innovative settings. So I am super excited to be here. And Yeah, let's get this party started.
I love it. Thank you, Taisha. I love it. Literally, let's get this party started. And so I created the slide, pun intended, the elephant is in the room, right? So if you read the caption, I'm really struggling to figure out how all of this fits into my role in alternative education or non-traditional settings, right? We just do things differently. And to provide some context, speaking about the moments when we're sitting in those district-wide school counseling trainings, or even in-house at our site-specific staff meetings, and we're just trying to make the connection. We hear about graduation rates and test scores and core classes and pass rates, but we're still trying to figure out, okay, when we hear about multi-tiered, multi-domain systems of support, or even the comprehensive school counseling program, the Ask a National model, we're trying to figure out how does this really work in our setting. We have so many different factors that play a part in the settings that we work in, whether it be limited resources, different types of staff that we have, the way in which we support and enroll our kiddos. It's a cyclical experience, right? We're experiencing these things over and over and over again, and it oftentimes feels like we're not understood with the work that we do, or people just don't really get it. And so that's why we created this space for you all today. We want to create this safe space where you have an opportunity to connect with each other, learn about different resources and tools and strategies to implement this work. And so you're not alone, right? I want to see where well, I actually have seen in the chat, so many of our innovative friends are joining us today from so many different places. Our session, again, from the leadership team allowing this space to happen, brought together school counselors, district leaders, administrators from over 40 states and 6 countries, including obviously US, but Canada, Bahamas, Brazil, India, Thailand, and the list goes on. I just want to plug if anyone in the Bahamas is joining today and you would like to have us provide services in Bahamas, I'll be the first one to volunteer to
Hold on,
go.
I'll be there with you, Ebony. We need two if we're going international.
I'll
So,
be there too.
oh, three of
okay,
us. All
okay.
right.
We will all come to support this work and make it happen. But to like what Taisha said earlier, it really does speak to the global relevance of reimagining this work of comprehensive school counseling programs in our unique settings, right? I do want to shout out a few people that are on this Zoom call. I'm so excited to see my Learn for Life friends. I already shouted out Maria in the chat. People from Gwinnett, my friend from Fulton County. So many people have really joined today to really show an investment, not only with their students that they support, but also the work that we do in all different types of settings, right? So thank you for joining us. So today's learning objectives, and hopefully, this is a very short amount of time. And so, admittedly, we do want to invite you to extend your support and extend your connection with us, your learning connection with us for other opportunities that we'll share throughout our time together. But an hour is very short and sweet. So we definitely plan to give you many nuggets to apply, centering around reframing what this looks like in your setting, right? We know that it looks different, but we also want to provide some clarity around how these systems really do drive equity and access in our settings. So starting from the traditional setting or more comprehensive sites, how does that transfer into our non-traditional, our unique settings and environments? Again, want to reiterate, this includes private, charter, alt ed, choice schools, any type of other setting, juvenile justice settings. There's so many unique ways that we support our students. And then also, how can we connect to identify those practices that really align with our students' needs and it looks different in every setting, even within non-traditional setting, right? And so I remember hearing a quote at the National Alternative Education Association conference, and this speaker said, the real work of systems change often begins with mindset shifting. And so while a lot of this sounds great in theory, and the ideas sound so exciting and sometimes can be overwhelming. Oftentimes, the change starts with ourselves, looking in the mirror and really considering, well, what am I willing to be open to? What am I willing to discuss with my admin or having these challenging and more critical conversations? And so, reframing the way we look at things and our mindsets oftentimes is the first system that needs to be addressed. So, if you're still with me, please drop an innovate in the chat. Can I see those innovates come through the chat? Let's see. I see innovate. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. All right. So as we're continuing to dive into this topic, we want to consider how are we applying comprehensive school counseling programs? How are we doing this work without lowering expectations? Because we are included in our national frameworks that we know about and we follow with such fidelity. Our MTSS, also MTMDSS, and I'll explain what that means with the multi-domain, as well as our Ask a National model. We know that when we do MTMDSS, we deliver our supports for students. The way in which we view MTMDSS oftentimes looks different at the traditional versus the non-traditional setting. And so what happens is when you are at a traditional comprehensive site, a lot of times school counselors are discussing options with their tier two or tier three students in conjunction with their parents, deciding on what's next. What's the best option for them to either make up their credits, or even for students that may be hospital homebound that want to stay on track with their credits, or even students that are excelling and they just want to take advantage of a smaller atmosphere. What are the lens that people typically look at this through? And oftentimes the comprehensive site will look at enrolling students in a non-traditional setting as a tier two or tier three initiative or intervention or support. However, when we as school counselors in the non-traditional setting, we acquire our students, we enroll our students, we're then supporting our students based on their need, based on the data, based on oftentimes their needs assessments or their intake forms, and then we go ahead and still provide all tiers, tier one through tier three levels of support. And so just understanding that while it may look different based on the setting, we are all still working together to support students based on data and based on the tier and domain that is identified. And so also when it comes to the multi-tiered, multi-domain system of support, MTSS it's nationwide adapted. A lot of us are familiar with that language. Multi-tiered, multi-domain also includes and elevates the importance of the work that we do within that college and career component. So today our talk will be centered around MTMDSS. And so with MTMDSS, and also just doing this work as school counselors in our non-traditional settings, we want to align with our national frameworks and the real work that we do in alt ed, right? So the real work that we do in alt ed is that we also recognize and celebrate the fact that many of our sites, our settings, we offer specialized services in such unique ways, additional staff support that really meet the varying needs of our students. I remember, and I hope I'm not misspeaking here, but and I've worked in both settings, traditional and non-traditional. And I oftentimes felt, number one, when I went into non-traditional settings, that was just my jam. I knew that I was not going to turn back or go back to the traditional setting, comprehensive setting. The alt ed / non-traditional setting was very near and dear to my heart. Those students really desire and need a multi-tiered, so many different levels of support, and we meet them where they are, right? In alt ed, we know all too well how to meet our students where they are based on their needs, based on collaborating with others in the building, outside of the building, partnering with local agencies. And so we just do it differently, and we truly go above and beyond for our students. And so we do this though, and oftentimes what happens is we get caught in the cycle of reactivity. We're finding that we are responding to the current student that's in front of us, the need that's more prominent in that moment. We are finding ourselves needing to be reactive and sometimes get caught up in the tier two or tier three services, even within our setting. And it kind of feels like our trapezoid is then upside down. We feel like we're being ineffective. It definitely leads to burnout. We feel like we are only servicing a small handful, a small percentage of our students, and that definitely leads to ineffective or inequitable systems, right? And so I don't want to overlook some of the key factors that play a role in oftentimes our trapezoid feeling like it's upside down with being kind of stuck in that cycle of reactivity and needing to support students in tier two or tier three. These are some of the things that I resonate with, and I want to also hear from you in the chat. When you think about your comprehensive school counseling programs and you think about all the factors that play a part in the level of fidelity that we're able to implement this work, sometimes limited resources, staff. I was oftentimes leaned on as the second admin in my building, and I worked in two different alt ed sites during my 16 years, and one more than the other. At one point, we only had one counselor, and again, I was more of the second assistant principal in the building. It led me to feel sometimes low self-efficacy within my role as a school counselor. Again, I was only responding to the crisis that was in front of me in that moment. And then it was a struggle to have to navigate any new processes or procedures, having to adapt to the new and new current needs of our students. You know, they change from year to year. And so, what else would you like to add in the chat? Let me see what we have here. Okay, some people said it's very true. All these are true. Shout out to, oh, thank you, Miss Yolanda, for being here. Springfield Public Schools represent. Let's see. Okay, so a lot of you are basically agreeing with me in terms of the things. Oh, thank you, Sherry. Lack of systems approach to counseling. And so I agree with that. Sometimes being stuck with the status quo, you know, we're just kind of in that, in the moment, fly by the seat of our pants and trying to just keep up with all the demands that are in front of us. And so sometimes that causes resistance to change and outside of our counseling program too, and also having to collaborate and coordinate with other key players in our building, like teachers and so on. So thank you for your feedback. I see you, Alicia Walker, in the chat. Understanding the true role of a school counselor. Yes. And so also with these factors that play a part, we want to ensure that we are centering equity at the core of what we do, right? This is where the magic happens. This is where us in alternative education, non-traditional settings, this is where we get creative and do things differently without lowering expectations. We band together. I remember when the one of my districts had a mandate to have every single student in my building take the senior exit survey. But we had a very high transient population, and oftentimes it was hard to, you know, get all the students in the building, and attendance was sometimes a concern. And so with that, we had everyone, boots on the ground, everyone accessing their resources and their knowledge of where students are so that we could get these students to do the senior exit survey and connect with them. And so oftentimes we do things based on the needs of our district and aligning with their priorities, but also having to be unique and different without lowering expectations in the moment in our setting. And so, how can we do this though? Do this work and unlock the strategies. We talk about MTMDSS. What are the strategies that really do work in non-traditional settings? And so some of these examples that you see on the slides will be very familiar to you. You have done them yourselves, and some of them not so much. What I want to elevate are the things that are not on these slides. All of us, well, not all of us, but a lot of us have taken on the effort of providing a college and career fair. We called ours the Life Readiness Fair. We do our core curriculum lessons that are also in alignment with our district-wide priorities and the other lessons that are also being implemented at other feeder schools, traditional schools, right? We do our parent nights. All these things do happen in such varying ways, but we don't speak about the things that we still do that's still considered tier one. For example, when we host our new student orientation workshops for our enrolling students, all students still receive and still attend the new student orientations. At one of my sites, this happened quarterly, and we were to deliver our, it's a tier one lesson around academic planning and academic success, right? And so we could sprinkle in other topics while we have our students and their parents in our presence in that moment. And so we capitalize on those moments to deliver tier one. And so it definitely looks different. We do things differently without lowering expectations. So tier two, when we get to tier two, here are some more examples. And I want to back up to make mention that wherever you see a gear or a link on the slide, this link in the lower left-hand corner, that indicates that that document or that word or title is hyperlinked with some great resources. So take advantage of anywhere throughout the slide deck where you see that link. Go ahead and click there for some great resources and put it in your Google Drive or wherever you have your organization system. And so for tier two, we offer individual counseling. This definitely happens innately with the things that we do in traditional and non-traditional settings. We do small groups, we do restorative justice, we do all these things, and very much so indirect services, which we consult and collaborate with our staff, our student support team, or services members. We do these things with other people because we know we can't do it in isolation. We can't just do this work alone. And so what I don't have on the slide, though, is a unique way that one of my sites actually implemented our tier two services where we had peer-to-peer mentoring. And I know that's not something that's foreign. A lot of us have definitely utilized that as a way or a system to also compound our school counseling efforts, our tier two efforts. And so where we had our 12th grade students provide restorative justice and peer-to-peer mentoring for our underclassmen. And so that was huge, which took very minimum time from my planning and things of that nature, where I was able to actually empower and instill that sense of purpose and leadership within our students. And we called them our success ambassadors. And so really fortunate to do that. Again, a lot of the things that we'll discuss today during our remaining time, as well as during our cohort. Spoiler alert, we're going to talk about our innovative school counseling cohort, but a lot of these concepts we'll dig deeper dig deeper around during our cohort time. Also, I'm going to invite you all to spend some time with me during one of our virtual drop-ins, but really the premise behind these three slides, we talk about our tiered supports that we provide is how are we able to meet our students' needs while still doing the work of school counseling and not lowering expectations, but thinking outside the box. What this slide does not mention is that one of my sites actually partnered with our local agency called Comprehensive Care Associates, and we were able to provide our short-term counseling for students in the building. One of my assistant principals at that time actually also partnered with a local mobile health van to provide basic needs for students. They can get their eyes checked, get their teeth looked at, just basic things, basic services. But all of these examples here help to boost up our attendance. This would eliminate the distraction or need for students to have to then miss school to take care of their basic needs. And so it was amazing. And these are just some of the ways in which we implemented our multi-tiered levels of support in different domains. And so I've got to keep going. But post check, I see Innovate. Francis, you're ahead of me. I love it. Drop an Innovate in the chat. Who's with me? Who can also relate to these ideas and doing things differently? I love it. I see the Innovates coming through. Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's get into the good stuff, right? I know who does not love a good tool to use, especially one that's ready to implement right away. Hatching results, shameless plug. We have so many great templates and resources and tools. Again, eliminating the need for you to have to reinvent the wheel and you to have to start from scratch. And so a lot of the tools that we provide you all are plug and play and definitely applicable and then adaptable to meet the needs of your environment. So with our tools and tips for success, sometimes in all the things that I just mentioned, we still do our work. The things that we do, the work that we do in non-traditional settings, it's hard work, right? It's hard work, but it's also heart work. And so a lot of times it feels like Lucy and Ethel on this slide, where we're just going, right? We're just trying to capture and take care of all the kids' needs. We're trying to leverage our resources. We're trying to collaborate and coordinate and brainstorm with our team and just be as effective and efficient as possible, right? But again, I'll echo the same thing. Not only are we not lowering expectations and we're doing things differently, but we're not doing this work in isolation, right? So we're also partnering up with key individuals, community and school-based, district-based individuals, programs, organizations. I can recall countless times where we partnered with our local organizations. Oftentimes, in the two sites actually that I worked in, we partnered with our local sorority and fraternity organizations. We partnered with different organizations like a Women's Standard. We partnered with so many, right? We had Communities in Schools were another organization where we partnered with to really make these things come to fruition and be able to provide the multi-tier, multi-domain systems of support that we hope to see happen, right? I will pause in this slide to mention something that was amazing that took place at our site, one of our sites. We were able to coordinate a staff mentoring program where every staff member took on at least one or two students that they could mentor. And we just happened to organically partner one of our custodial staff members with the student. And long story short, and without divulging any personal information, their bond was formed. It took off, and she was able to really support this student and allow for him to feel a sense of belonging based on the way in which she was able to support the students. So I'd like to hear from you all while we're all here today, and as we keep going, are there any local organizations, any ideas of folks and people that you've partnered with in the past or current partners that you want to share in the chat? We would love to also hear any unique organizations or ways in which you've been able to partner with folks. Give Back Academy, I agree, Christina, mentorship that absolutely saves lives. It says community care plus OLE, physical and mental health support in Greater Sacramento area. I love that. I see folks have done the mentoring, staff mentoring in the past, and we know that our students' enrollment numbers are a little bit lower. So oftentimes that does allow for the staff mentoring, and nearly almost every student could get a mentor. I see Wellness Together. Thank you all for dropping these gems in the chat. Again, as you'll experience if you take advantage of our cohort, you experience a lot of sharing ideas. We don't know what we don't know, right? And so when we share ideas, that expands our reach and expands our knowledge, and it all trickles down into how we can better support our students. So more jewels. Now, these are the tools that you can actually pick up and implement, right? So I want to kick us off with our resource mapping for MTMDSS success. What I'd say the baseline for this process, it begins by identifying the who, what, when, where, and how of this process. Is really the roadmap to success and implementation. And so we want to make sure that we're figuring out and deciding and brainstorming how does each team use data to drive our decision, and then which key staff members play a role, and also extending beyond the counseling department. When I spoke about peer-to-peer mentoring at a site that I actually worked in many years ago, I partnered with a teacher, and so she had a planning period, and we were able to make our peer-to-peer mentoring happen by us connecting. And this is someone outside of my department. And so we do have a take-home activity for you to do with this MTMDSS resource. It is linked on this slide here, slide number 25. And so if you are doing some landscaping with this tool, and feel free, again, you can click on everything that's in our slide deck wherever you see the link. It's beneficial to start with the who and the what columns for your resource mapping, so you can figure out what's the data showing, number one, in terms of students' needs in each of the tiers, each of the domains, and then who are the individuals that would need to be a part of that process for that particular intervention that you're considering based on student needs, right? So the who and the what. Who are our key players, and what is the topic? What is the area of concern? What is the intervention that we're hoping to implement? And once you have that groundwork, that foundation laid out with your team, collaborate. Again, not do this work in isolation, but collaborating with other key members to decide on the when, the where, and the how. Of course, you already know within our sites, we have to be mindful of our site-specific and district-wide dates, testing, things of that nature, other things that are happening, right? So we need to collaborate with others so it doesn't feel like we are battling other services or competing with others, not battling, competing with other services. We also don't want to over-service students, right? So the resource mapping toolkit, thank you, Minnie, for dropping that in the chat. It provides a great big picture of which services are we providing, so that we don't duplicate services and then students have to kind of buy their time and figure out which ones they want to take advantage of. We want to make sure we are supporting students in all areas, and that it's being taken care of, meaning that area or that domain and that tier is being taken care of. So that's a great resource for you to start with when it comes to really designating your MTMDSS process. And then we have some great ASCA tools. Many of us know about these tools and are very accustomed to utilizing them. I want to also make mention of two key tools on this slide that really help to advocate and champion for the work that I did at one of my sites. This is my first site at one of my alt-ed sites. We use the use of time assessment. And it's funny, I laugh a little bit because when I talk about use of time assessment or time tracking with the districts that I support with hatching results, I tend to get side eyes, and I'm excited going into the session like, oh, let's talk about time tracking. And I get these blank stares like, we don't have the time to track our time. What are you talking about, Ebony? And so, but the reason why I get so excited while talking about use of time assessment, time tracking, is sharing the results. In my setting, I leveraged our school counselor advisory meetings twice a year to go ahead. I see you, Michelle. Innovate. This is what we do. We innovate, right? I use that information to inform my principal, assistant principal, students, teachers, parents in my session about the ways in which we support students, our programs that are in place in different tiers, different domains, what the data is showing, our needs assessment data that was showing that students actually needed, what my services were, and then my time tracking analysis, where my time is being spent, right? And so sometimes, no shame, no blame, it would actually peel back the layers or pull the curtains back to show where the disparities were, right? So we see all this great work that we can do, or we have been doing, what we hope to do more. We see the needs of our students. However, my time, I need more time to actually provide our delivery, the direct services for either of the tiers. And so, really, that's when I got the buy in. That's when the eyes started to open. My admin were all ears. When then I then had my annual administrative conference with my admin, it was more so of a where can I support type conversation. It wasn't about, oh, all the reasons why we can't do something. It was about, oh, I loved your presentation. I would love to talk more about this with you. And how does this then transfer into how I can support and partner with the work that we're doing? And so these are just a few things that I wanted to share on this slide. Again, the documents where it's underlined are linked. So feel free to grab that. I believe Mindy put the link. Thank you. She's on it. We are so in sync. She put the link to today's slides, PDF. You can still click on the links throughout the PDF as well. All right. And additional resources that I want to elevate before I pass it on to my colleague is it's so important as counselors in non-traditional settings. It's so important that we stay connected to our state, our local, and our national organizations. I have found such huge value in partnering and attending and presenting at the National Alternative Education Association conference that happens annually. I believe it's going to be in New Orleans this year, so I hope you join me there. Also want to call out the National Youth Advocacy and Resilience Conference that takes place annually, another gem, and all these other resources, a lot of these other resources on this slide, excuse me, really help to provide input, support, and ideas and resources, connection to the different domains and tiers that I was providing interventions in. So, for example, Peer Mentoring Works is a great resource, great tool, great information on there for peer mentoring, as well as NACAT College Fairs. U.S. Department of Labor and ONET were really for my college and career fair efforts and really connecting our students with mentors in those respective fields. And so huge, huge, huge resources and a few of my gems. If you don't mind, before I segue, and I do have a moment to pause here, drop any gems in the chat. Which resources are you all using in non-traditional settings? I mentioned a few, and so if you don't mind, what other sites do you all go to, websites that are your go-to? Like I check this out at least once a month to see what's new, what's happening to support my students and the way in which you use that. Castle gem, I agree 100%. The Castle site has so many great tools and strategies that you can easily grab and go. All right. This is our moment to pause. I spoke a little bit about our innovative school counseling cohort that we are getting ready to offer and launch this spring. I will speak more about it later on in our slides if you hang out with us a little longer. I do want to let you know we're raffling off. So who doesn't love a good raffle, right? We raffled off a free registration for our spring cohort valued at $299, and you have to be present to win. A little bit about the cohort, short and sweet. We're offering 5 sessions at only an hour and a half long that will really demonstrate and allow for us to discuss more innately how to deliver MTMDSS. How do we actually make this happen in our practice? I spoke earlier about how multi-dimensional our non-traditional sites are. When you're speaking about private to charter to juvenile justice, we all do this work. It's not a one size shoe fits all, right? We still all implement and deliver this work in such unique and innovative ways. It really does help to hear from one another. And that's another great aspect of our cohort. We want to definitely hear from each other, provide and share resources with each other, ideas. And so, Mindy, Pulse Shake, are we going to announce the winner now or at the very end?
Let's wait till the end.
All right.
We've picked a random name from those of you that are here.
All
So here we go. We'll do a drum roll at the end here.
Ooh, the suspense is
All
killing
right.
me. Okay, here we go. All right, since Mindy, you're off mute, I would like to go ahead and pass it on to you.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the reality here a little bit. There's a lot of things. We all have this great vision of this ideal comprehensive school counseling program that we want to have, but things sometimes get in our way and we need support. We're not sure how to advocate for what we need. We're not sure how to speak the language of our superintendents, our school boards, our communities to try to help them really understand the work that we're capable of doing that we could be doing for our students. So Ebony has actually surveyed school counselors from around the country that work in settings just like yours. And we have found and kind of summarized some of the common challenges that y'all are dealing with in these settings. So do any of these things sound like you? I see student growth happening, but our data systems don't tell that story. It's so frustrating, particularly in alternative education and non-traditional settings. Running reports from your student information system doesn't tell you what's really going on with our kiddos. There's a whole life and a whole person and a whole story behind that. And so sometimes we need to find other ways to share that anecdotal data and the stories of our kids with our educational partners in our district. Some days I'm not sure where counseling ends and everything else begins. Like I thought I was a counselor, but today I'm the bus driver, particularly in some of your settings. You're the bus driver, you're the lunch lady, you're answering the telephones. So it's really hard sometimes to give your program the time and attention that you want because of all these other things that are taking your time away from that. We're going to talk about in this cohort too how to advocate for more time to do more school counseling with more kids, because ultimately that is our goal. We want to do more counseling with more kids. Ebony talked earlier about your trapezoid being flipped upside down. So do you ever feel like I spend so much time responding to urgent student needs that I can't be proactive and preventative anymore? And so even once our students get to our settings, we can still be proactive and preventative, but we've got to find the time and the space because we're constantly putting out fires with the squirt gun, is what I say. So how do we break that cycle of reactivity and get in front of things to be more proactive? And the last one, I know tier one is hard, particularly in some of these non-traditional settings, because our student population is coming and going, and kids are going back to maybe their comprehensive school or into other programs, or some of the kids are working full time. Does tier one look like? How can I make tier one happen in my setting? Because it's definitely not going to look like those classroom lessons that we keep hearing about. We've got to do things a little bit differently. So what we have here, and hopefully somebody will drop it in the chat since I'm talking now. We have those common challenges there, and those are things that you can probably resonate with. And these are things when Ebony starts this cohort, y'all, she is going to be tackling a lot of these and getting folks talking about many of these. We're not going to solve all your problems. So let me start that right now. I wish we were going to solve all the problems, but what we're going to do is help you realize you're not alone in what you've got going on. And you're going to be able to talk to other people across the country that are in situations like yours. So this is one of my favorite slides, I think. Here. All right. Oh, I get click happy. I click too many times. It's that Red Bull I had this morning. Let me hit it. Let me go back again. Okay. So one of this, oh my gosh, you guys, I think I have a delay on my screen. Hands up. All right, here we go. All right, here's another resource for you. I was joking with Ebony. I've used this slide quite a bit in trainings because when we go out and train or when I train with counselors, sometimes I get a lot of yeah buts. You know the yeah buts. Yeah, but Mindy, this sounds really great. Yeah, but my setting is different. Yeah, but Mindy. Yeah, but Mindy. Well, here you go. You're going to get the yeah buts out. We're getting all those yeah buts out here. So I love this quote. Begin with the attitude that you are seeking a solution to every obstacle and not finding an obstacle to every solution. I tell my kids all the time, I got 3 boys, you guys, and they got a lot of problems. And I tell them, would you like to find a solution? There is a solution to every problem. We just have to get our heads in it. Usually I'm telling them, would you like to cry about it or would you like to solve the problem? And so I try to help them see that there's a solution to every problem. And here's the thing. I love this picture. I love this picture of the milk. Okay, it says, my brother told me he did this so it would fit in the fridge. Did it get the job done? Is the milk cold? Yes. Can you still drink it? Yes. Does it look pretty? No. And is that okay? Absolutely. We know that your comprehensive school counseling program might look a little messier than sometimes those in our comprehensive schools or our more traditional schools. It's going to look different, but you're going to get the job done. You can still do it. We just have to massage things and twist things a little bit to bring it to life in your setting. And that's what this is all about, is how to take these evidence-based frameworks and these research-based practices in school counseling and massage them and twist them and turn them and sometimes turn them inside out to make them fit in the settings that you are in, no matter what that setting might look like. So let's get the yeah buts out. This is a document for you here. When you open it, drop all those yeah buts. What are all the things getting in your way? And start brainstorming solutions. There are solutions to every problem. I promise you that. You might just need to think outside the box and need our help with it. And then start thinking about what are you going to try? Ebony, girl, we're seeing your calendar now. What are you doing? Multitasking. You forgot you were showing. I do that all the time. She forgot she was projecting. That's all right.
Are we good now?
Yeah, we're good. All right. So I recently did a keynote about what lights your fire. And I want to know, drop in the chat, what is a moment when you thought, this is why I do this work? Because y'all, this is hard work, particularly right now. It is incredibly hard work. What is that moment? If you've got time to drop it in the chat or just reflect. This is why I do this. I'm looking for the person that says data. Because we all didn't come into this work for data. I know that. But we know that behind the data is a story for all of our students. And so what we want to do is do more of what lights your fire. We want to do more of that. And so we can do more of that when we start to use our evidence-based frameworks, when we advocate for what our students need. So I want you to remember what lights your fire and keep that moment, keep that person in mind when you advocate for your comprehensive school counseling program at your site or in your district, because your kids deserve it. And next week is a perfect opportunity. It's National School Counseling Week. So think about how you're going to advocate for your kids, for your program, because it's not about you. It's not a week of recognition. It's a week to advocate and to promote school counseling and to promote our kids. How are you going to help people understand the work that school counselors do and the work that you do in your building? So keep in mind what is lighting your fire, and you get to do more of that. What would it look like to do more of what lights your fire every day? I'm clicking it one time. I think I have a little delay here. All right. So this is just a quick little tip of something we might cover in the cohort. One of the best ways to advocate is to speak their language. Y'all, I told you I'm coming at you from my last job was at the district office. The district. I always say it with the district. You guys, y'all know what you're saying. I see it, the district, right? And so I always had to remind people, I am Mindy Willard, one person that works at the district. I am not the district office, but I learned to speak the language of the district office while I was there. And one of the best ways that we can advocate for the programs that we want is to show how our programs align to the strategic goals of the district. And so if you have never seen your district strategic plan, make a note, go look it up, Google it. I promise you, your school strategic plan, if you're private schools, I know they have something similar. What is the vision, the mission, the strategy here? Because that's what keeps your superintendent up at night. That's what your administrators are held accountable to. So your job is to show them how your school counseling program is working in service of those goals. I have never seen a strategic plan that I cannot make a connection to school counseling in. So I promise you, look up your school improvement plan, your LCAP, whatever acronym your district site school uses, find that document and see what the connection is and have a conversation with your leaders about how you are going to help bring that vision to life. And if you pull it up and you can't find a connection, I want you to email me. Email me, mindy@hatchingresults.com, because I will help you find that connection. Actually, email Ebony. Email Ebony. Either one of us can help you. But Ebony's doing some drop-ins later. Bring that strategic plan and we will help you make that connection. But those conversations are really important. And so this is one great way to start that conversation, to advocate to do more school counseling with more kids, to advocate to do those things that light your fire. All right. So Ebony, if you want to talk a little bit about your drop-ins here, we've got about 11 minutes, so we're good.
Okay, and I still need to have Taisha come on too. So we do want to allow for you all the space to kind of dialogue some more about a lot of the topics that we are discussing with you all today. Again, the whole notion behind our webinar is that you don't leave here feeling like, well, how is this going to happen in my setting? Or I would like to learn more about how this came to fruition. And so we're offering a free 30-minute virtual drop-in sessions 3 chances to join. If you click on the document, the link on the slide, you'll be able to get a sneak preview of the dates and the times, and then you can actually put your name, email address, and then the X in the column in which you hope to participate in the session that you want to participate in, and we'll go ahead and add you to the calendar invite. So just a way for us to chat a little bit more and really kind of get more information around what does this information or what do these ideas actually look like in practice. So just wanted to jump in and share that. Yes, pick my brain. I would love to chat. All things non-traditional counseling. Okay, so I'll go ahead and bring on Taisha to go ahead and talk more about how can we turn these steps and bring it really into life.
Thank you. Thank you, Ebony. Thank you for highlighting how innovative the work must be for counselors in non-traditional settings, whether it's charter school, private school, or anything in between. As Ebony mentioned earlier, following the MTMDSS framework helps us intentionally support every student, right? Those students who need us the most. Sometimes our non-traditional settings are full of students who need extra support. So thank you for capturing what you did throughout your career, Ebony. And Mindy reminded us of the barriers we face, right? The elephant in the room. There are barriers to the work that we do, and we have to be innovative to get beyond those barriers. And she mentioned the yeah, but. Yeah, but advocacy is key. We have to do that. And there are solutions to every problem we face. We just have to keep that fire going, that fire lit that Mindy talked about. And she circled us back to remembering the why. Why are we doing the work? Why did we sign up to work in a non-traditional setting, right? We knew just by the name it was going to be a different type of comprehensive program that we're going to have to lead. So let's talk about the next steps and how to bring all of this to life. Next slide, please. Okay, so Ebony went over quite a few resources at Hatching Results. We love giving resources. You guys see the QR code on slide 26. If you scan that QR code, you will get a toolkit. And this toolkit includes the MTMDSS planning guide. This helps you map out your goals and really align them with the tiered approach. You will have access to a decision-making cycle activity that helps your team reflect on what's working, what's not, where do you need to adjust. And then you'll also have tips for developing pre and post tests. This gives us the data that we need to advocate on behalf of our students, advocate on behalf of our families, our program. It really is critical in making sure that we're gathering information to take it back to our administrators, our districts, those of you in private schools, maybe you're going directly to boards or cabinets to really advocate for what you're doing in your program. And more importantly, how are students different as a result of your programming? So that tool is amazing. And then a sample referral form to streamline how students access the supports they need, which is also critical. Ebony, when you were talking in the beginning, I was so triggered by how many things we do, how many hats we have in alternative ed. And this is one of a great resource to help us streamline that work so that the burnout, it sort of dissipates. Next slide, please. So here is just a few of the partners, districts that we've worked with that we're committed to bringing sustainable comprehensive programs to along the way. So if any of you are here, we want to shout you out. Thank you for being our partners and really just really taking in all that we have to help you strengthen your programs. And I'm talking quick. Next slide, please. This is an amazing article that we wrote about our district partner a couple of months ago, right? Our Learn for Life district partner, Ebony, wrote this amazing article. If you guys have time, please take a look at this article and really just take in some of the supports that we help them with, but also some of the takeaways and what they're actually using in their programs to strengthen the programming that they're bringing to their students. Real quick, what's not on here, I would like to shout out another district partner that we work with. We work with Pomona Unified here in Southern California. In one of their alt ed schools, Park West, if you're in this chat, we want to shout you out. They received the ASCA recognized ASCA Model School Program designation. So they were ramped, which you guys, this is hard for a traditional school, much less an alt ed school. So as far as we know, they might be one of the only alt ed schools that has received this designation. And if that is the case, we just really, really want to shout out those counselors, the program that they did, and more importantly, the amazing work that they did with their students who just need a little bit more support. And finally, I just want to just show you more voices from partners in non-traditional settings that we've worked with. You can read these, but one of our district partners is they're going to be presenting at the Hatching Results National Conference, so National School Counselors Leadership Conference, in just a few weeks. And they're also going to be presenting at ASCA. So they're sharing the knowledge and information that they've gained from strengthening their programs at national conferences. So there is a lot of great work that's happening in alt ed, and it is beautiful when we can share with one another. All right, take it home, Ebony. You go.
Wait a minute, not the exhale. What's
Yes,
happening?
I was trying to talk fast.
I love it. You did beautifully. Teamwork. Okay, here we go. So, what does this look like in terms of aligning all these concepts and comprehensive school counseling programming and MTMDSS, making it happen for your program, right? So, the goal is to align our school counseling program not only to meet our site-specific needs, but also align with our organizations, district, charter, whatever that looks like, align with their priorities to show how meaningful and how important the work that we do in our sites, that we're impacting those outcome data, right? We're building systems that are measurable, that drive measurable student outcomes. We're empowering us ourselves to lead and be effective and collaborate at every tier. Again, I can't echo this enough. When you think about collaboration, think differently. Think about the teacher that you can collaborate with and just connect with on certain student needs, and they have a certain passion that you didn't even know existed that you can kind of connect with and work toward a common goal. If you want to consider not only taking that alignment concept or theory and practice, but what can you do at this moment? Well, there's a couple things. So option one would be to join me and a few guests. I have a few special guests. Admittedly, I didn't have a chance to create my cute slide with all their amazing faces and credentials, but just know that you're in for a treat. I've got some amazing, skilled, experienced partners in this work that want to pour into you as well and help you brainstorm some of these ideas. It's a semester-long cohort. It's 5 sessions at an hour and a half each. Each session will be recorded with some great landing tools where you can kind of like a one-stop shop, a hub of some sort of learning resources and tools that you can easily access and carry with you. Also, again, like I said earlier, we don't know what we don't know, in that it helps to hear from other people about all the amazing ideas and tools and techniques and strategies that they use that you can kind of pick up and apply and adapt at your own setting. And so that's where that peer network and collaboration comes from. So we do have some spots available, and you can easily scan the QR code or access the link, Spring Innovate, bit.ly, Spring Innovate. Or also, again, I shameless plug again, I work for an incredible organization. I came from the school counseling world, and here I am now working with such amazing former school counselors and leaders in this work. And so we've got amazing partnerships, past and present and future, and we want to invite you to be a part of our future partnerships with regards to so many different levels and ways to to receive services. So we've got all kinds of tailored professional learning experiences and coaching and consultations. And also strategic planning. If you just can't see the vision or really can't see how this work can come to fruition, that's where we come in and help you ideate some realistic and tangible ways to make this work happen. And it's magical. If I say so myself, it's just amazing the work that we do. And when we have so many, like Taisha spoke earlier, so many great testimonials about the work that we do. This is our goal, and our aspiration is to hopefully grow your capacity to lead and get outside of, again, being in that cycle of reactivity and go toward more of systems of sustainability building, where you're building more systems that kind of come innately to you and come seamlessly, and it becomes a well-oiled machine year to year as you grow and evolve your school counseling program. And again, you can't do this work without collaborating with your team and with others. And we do really curate a great space to make that happen. And here's a slide for the link. If you do want to express interest or just want more information about our cohort that we're going to launch, beginning with 2 kickoff dates. So either February 11th, and I believe the next date is March 5th, if my memory serves me correct. But the dates are there. That's why the website is being created. I don't have to remember these dates. They're all on the website. Go ahead and check that out. And then if you just need some language around, okay, how do I have this conversation? And I fell into this sometimes with my admin. How do I have this conversation around my interest and my desire to do these things at a pretty nominal rate, nominal fee? How can I champion and garner that support to actually take advantage of these opportunities? We have our justification letter to support with that language, and Mindy's putting it in the chat for us, and it's also linked on the slide. And then just a little sneak preview again about some of our learning sessions and what they will be comprised of. So going from data, how do we champion student success using data? How do we then collaborate with key partners internally and externally, taking the information that we presented today and expanding on that? How do we market and brand our comprehensive school counseling program so that folks aren't leaning on their own perception of our school counseling program, but we are actually branding and marketing our program in such effective ways that we eliminate the so what do counselors do? They know that, right? And so we want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your experience with our innovative school counseling cohort. Again, going from tools, templates, and resources all the way to strategic planning. So it's a continuum of support and building and learning and growing together. And this is just the beginning. And so here we are at our raffle slide. Okay, I'm right, 2 minutes over time. Stay with us. Mindy, in her amazing voice, I want her to announce the winner for me.
All right, where's my drum roll? There we go. There we go.
Right,
our raffle winner is Michelle Mahoney. Michelle, if you are here, send me a little private chat. We'll get your info. But you won free registration to Ebony's cohort. So super excited. And if we don't hear from you, we'll find you. We've got your email somewhere, but drop me a chat if you can figure out how to do that. All right, Ebony, let's bring it home. Wrap it up.
Congratulations, Michelle. Who's going to join Michelle and I? Come join us to talk more questions. We'll stay on after we conclude today for any additional questions. And again, don't forget about my virtual drop-in sessions. That document is linked to sign up for a session that works for you. For many students in alternative education, a school counselor isn't an add-on, it is the access point, period. And so I just wanted to end on that note. A couple of amazing events and opportunities for you to learn and continue to develop and build with us. We have, we're going to celebrate you, like Danielle said earlier. We want to celebrate you and the amazing heartfelt work that you all do during National School Counseling Week. We're offering 2 free Hatching Hour webinars during that week. Ethics and Tiered Framework, Advocating with Integrity Across MTMDSS. And another important topic, we'll be sharing continuously daily impact stories to kind of reinvigorate, if I can get my words out, reinvigorate you and reinstate the why and the passion and the fire that Mindy mentioned earlier, and get you excited, right? Because if no one else says this to you, we thank you, we appreciate you, we see you, we honor you. And here's more information about our ethics as well. So we'll stay on If you have any questions, I want to leave it on this last final slide. If you do want a quick, easy access to our link, QR codes to sign up, at minimum as well, please make sure that you are on our email list. If you are joining us today via a social media post or just talking with each other, conversing, I have a lot of family and friends on here too. Join our email list because we have so many great resources and insight that we also share ongoing through our email list. So we hope to see you somewhere. We have all the places for you to come be with us and hang with us and continue to grow with us. So thank you for joining us. Thank you to my amazing colleagues, Taisha and Mindy. Y'all don't know, but I really worked them for this webinar. So